democracy. Well, joining me now is Congressman Adam Kinzinger of Illinois. He's one of the few Republicans who has publicly criticized former President Trump. He is also one of two Republicans on the House committee investigating January 6th. Congressman Kinzinger, welcome back to Meet the Press. Let me just start with this.
You bet, good to be with you.
I'm a pretty cynical guy. I've been doing this a long time. On January 7th, 2021, I think I'm guessing you were there too. I really thought, okay, this is it. This is the breaking point. Lindsey Graham, enough is enough. Count me out. It all felt like a moment. How did a year later we go to a Republican Party that is more in the grips of Donald Trump than what it was on January 7th, 2021?
I think we could probably spend a half hour on it. I'll give you kind of the most recent. So there's a lot of stuff that led up, but the most recent is January 7th. I'll tell you, within my Republican caucus, there was a lot of silence, a lot of discussion. Where do we go from here? This was wrong. And something happened 2 weeks later, which is Kevin McCarthy went to Mar-a-Lago. And it caught everybody off guard. They were shocked. But in that picture he had with Donald Trump, and I think Kevin had told us something like, oh, I just happened to be in Florida and he wanted to meet, so I was going to meet with him. No, that was an intentional meeting. That took like these, the paddles that you see on the TV shows and resurrected Donald Trump back to life. And I think when history looks back, it'll be Kevin's meeting with Donald Trump, which actually made him as an immediate of a force as it was. He may have come back, but I think that was a very important meeting.
Did Donald Trump reveal what the Republican Party is or change it?
I think it's actually a little of both. So I think on the one hand, Donald Trump is a symptom of years and years of leaders, profit-driven radio shows, whatever, turning the base into this angry, fearful, victimized group of people who are saying, look, you can never get a fair shot. As time goes by, you're going to lose more and more political power. Keep in mind, Republicans still won just about half of every races. But then Donald Trump came along, and I think unintentionally, because I think he just wanted to be, that guy,
right,
unintentionally got in front of a wave where people wanted somebody to blow stuff up. I think it's a little of both. I think it's fed off each other. The problem is leaders have to now interdict this fear and anger cycle, and they're not doing it. They're instead hiding.
Look, you are one of the few Republicans that wants to fight within the Republican Party to change it. I want to play a video you put out earlier this week and ask you about it on the other side.
On this anniversary of January 6th, let's confront the anger, fear, and hopelessness that brought that dark day about. Victory won't come in a day, a month, or even a year, but victory will come. I promise you that.
You've started your Country First organization, but I got to ask, what are you running for? Because you've announced you're not running for re-election. You announced earlier this week you would not be a candidate for governor. And I think there are Republicans who would like to see the Trumpist wing out of the party who want to see you run for something and combat this and push back. So what are you running for?
Well, look, I think that was part of the battle is like, do you stay in the House? Do you deal with the everyday, the kind of stupid arguments we have that are the same and trying to get your 200 views on C-SPAN by arguing on the House floor? That's an important role. I've done it for 12 years after this, and I'm more passionate about the country. What is that role next in terms of running for anything? I don't know. But I know that this Country First movement, which, by the way, country1st.com, has blown up. I know that is a force of people that are angry, and I'm going to go with this. We're gonna get involved in primaries. We're announcing a program at the end of January, and it's not even just about the Republican Party, though I think it's important. It's about just restoring our ability to talk to each other and calling out the abuse that is happening of our voters every time they get that email that says, send me 20 bucks. Right. Otherwise, XYZ, Pelosi's going to kill your family. That is abuse of our voters, and they need to hear it.
The biggest problem you have, though, is the information echo chamber, if you will. You have sort of misinformation peddlers that, people say, you and the media need to stand up and tell the truth. Well, there's a good portion of us that do, but 30% of the country doesn't watch it. You've got an algorithm that Facebook is essentially mainlined this garbage into people's intellectual veins, if you will. How do you change that?
You know, I wish I had the answer, because that is, especially in the last year, something that I've been even increasingly more concerned about. I always believed there would be enough crossover that truth would kind of prevail.
Yeah.
The last year has taught me that there are people that live in a totally different reality. All I can do is tell the truth and talk about the abuse. Because I think if people wake up to the fact that they are actually being financially, emotionally abused by leaders, maybe that'll be enough to awaken this change. But I'm going to tell you, if there's nothing to interdict this cycle in 5 or 10 years, we're in trouble.
We moved to the January 6th committee, and I know you're always very hesitant to get in front of the chair and the vice chair, so I'll get that caveat out of the way. If you got no more information submitted to this committee right now, how much of the story do you think you have?
I think a significant part. I think where we're at right now, we know a lot of the narrative. And as I've said, I think the most important thing is not even the day of January 6th. It's what led to it. We have a lot of what's out there in the public venue, what the president himself said. The fact that he was watching for 3 hours on TV, probably gleefully while this happened. So I think if everything shut down today, we'd be able to put out a powerful and substantive narrative. We still have more information, obviously, we want to get.
All right, but let me try to give me one thing you don't have yet that you really think you need, you know, a witness or that you really, or you need to understand that would make this a stronger report.
You know, I think the one thing that if I could wave a magic wand and have more information on, it would certainly be what did the president know about January 6th leading up to January 6th. And I think that what's important is it's the difference between was the president absolutely incompetent or a coward on the 6th when he didn't do anything, or did he know what was coming? And I think that's a difference between incompetence with your oath and possibly criminal. That's where I want to get more information. We do have, obviously, some things leading up to that, but the more information we can get, obviously, the better. Adam
Kinzinger, Republican from Illinois. I think the last time I had you on, I made mention that you represented a part of where my family grew up. Anyway, it's a wonderful part of the state. Thanks for coming on and sharing your perspective with us.
It's cold, you bet.